In this video, we join the Swedish Mycological Society on its annual Mycology Week, where participants go on mycological field excursions during an entire week. During 2025, the week was held in early October in the Skåne region in southernmost Sweden. The region is characterized by its temperate broadleaf forests, especially beech forests, which become increasingly scarce further north. On the first day we visited Klöverhallar Nature Reserve, a deep ravine with old forests and large amounts of dead wood. So now we are on the first locality of the week.
Today we're at Söderåsen's National Park in a pristine beech forest. Excited to look for some cool polypores and other
wood-living fungi in general.
Yes.
And this is an extremely cool locality. It's like a really deep ravine with a lot of beech forest. So we're gonna find some cool things.
For sure.
Down here is the ravine. We're gonna go down the slopes here soon. What do you think, Samuel? Is it too steep?
It's too steep to go down here, so we have to find another alternative.
Yes, it's pretty scary here. Our first specimen for the day is this Caloboletus calopus specimen. And this species is least concern, so it's not red listed, but it's really beautiful. And it has a bitter taste.
Here's a very rare species of Frantiseckia. Frantiseckia what?
Machulensis.
Frantiseckia machulensis. It's an orange-white resupinate to pileate polypore, endangered in Sweden, and it usually grows on coarse dead wood of Fagus with some Fumes fomentarius close by.
What is this?
Cortinarius vulpinus.
Cortinarius vulpinus. Nice. More Cortinarius species here. Many different species in the beech forest here. Beautiful bluish gills on this one. Here is Ramaria sanguinea. This is recognized by red spots down at the base. We went down into the ravine and reached the stream here at the bottom. I have a beech log here with a huge specimen of Scytenostroma portentosum, the grey cortesiod here growing on the underside of this log. It stretches along its entire length. Olle flicked a log here and found what we think might be Glioporus panocinctus, a really rare polypore. This one here with a yellow-whitish color and really small pores. Olle is photographing Henningsomyces candidans, a small basidiomycete that grows in tube-like fruit bodies.
It's really, really cool. It's quite small though.
On the underside of this log here in the stream there is Flebia subocracea, a yellow cortesioid which is red listed as near threatened and grows in very wet places. Olle is now taking photos of Mycena crocata, which is a small basidiomycete characterized by red stipe and orange spots on the gills when bruised. Yeah, you can see the orange spots here. So this is a southern species in a beech forest. So we have never seen this one before, right?
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
Beautiful here along the stream. Insane amount of dead wood. I think I found Sidera vulgaris here, a southern species. White polypore with greenish edges because of algal growth. On this log we have a Mycoasia species. Beautiful with yellow spines. Stefan Fallagorn here just found Camarups tubulina, a very large paraenomycete that grows mainly on alnus. It's red listed as near threatened in Sweden. And this is Alnus glutinosa. I ran down to the stream again and I'm super happy. I just found my own Franteseckia machulensis here, a really nice fruit body as well, on a decorticated beech log. It continues on the underside here. Me and Samuel just found Dentipellis fragilis. This species can be determined by, it can be peeled off from the substrate. A quick status update. Samuel found Seriporia.
Seriporia or Seriporiopsis. We will see what it is. I'm hoping for Seriporia, but we'll see. It might be something more trivial.
Here we have two red-listed species. This is an Ischnoderma species, which is very characteristic for this beech forest. And it has kind of a dark brown sooty upper cap with these reddish drops. And a whitish pore layer. And it's really beautiful if you look under here. It's covered in drops all the way in here. The other species is Multiclavula musida, which are these small white clubs that arise from this mat of algae. And I think this is a lichen, if I remember correctly. This is listed as vulnerable, and the Ischnoderma is near threatened.
We found an orange cantarell here.
Orange chanterelle in Swedish. So now we're back at the workshop. Here's the room with all the microscopes, and everyone else went to dinner, but I'm not really hungry, so I'm here grinding. The first thing I did now was confirm Glioporus pannocinctus, which have these thin sausage-shaped spores. I've taken a picture here from the microscope, and the spores align with the literature. Let's see if I can film something here. I think we can confirm this finding.
Olle also photographed a couple of slime molds, which I think are in the genera Stemonitis and Metatrichia. On the second day we visited calcareous beech forest on Ivö, the largest island in Skåne.
So there's a lot of interesting mycorrhizal fungi and many other ground-dwelling fungi, which are very rare, that have been found around here. I just found the second find in Sweden of a pyrinomycete called Hypoxylon crocopeplum. It's an orange cushion-like species. On my finger it's fertile, and the rest of the orange spots here are not fertile. The first finding in Sweden was also mine last year. Now I have the first and the second finding in Sweden, so that's really exciting. Here it is again with a lot more fertile parts. You can see the darker spots here on the cushion. That's the fertile part. And it's incredible here. This crocopeplum species is covering, I think, at least 20 logs here in orange spots, which is pretty awesome and a bit scary at the same time, since it's a tropical species. I'm now in a shoreline forest here with a bunch of alder, Alnus glutinosa, and Phragmites. And here on an alder log we have Dicosterium effuscatum. It's a brown-orange corticoid with a branching hyphae called Dicohyphidia, which I will show you in the microscope later. This is a pretty rare species. I think this is the fourth or fifth finding in Sweden. Some other guys found it along this shore just like 20 minutes ago or something. I found him. Have you found anything interesting?
I think your finding of the Hypoxylon was the best one, but I think this shoreline has been quite interesting. It's quite dry, but down here we can find some dead wood and some nice things at least. So it's been okay.
Yeah, and now we're heading up to the boulder-rich Fagus forest up here, beech.
Crazy blocks up here.
Yeah. We heard there's a bunch of Franteseckia and Glioporus polypores up here, so hopefully we'll see some of those.
Yes.
Huge boulders here. Samuel was the one who found all the Glorioperus up here among the boulders, and I flipped like one log here and immediately found one here. What do you think, Samuel?
It's a pretty good spot for this species.
Yes.
I think we've seen now maybe 10 or 11 logs with them. And from Uppsala, where I'm used to hanging out, I've maybe seen 1 or 2 in my lifetime. So now I've seen 11 here. So yeah, good spot.
We have a large beech log here with several fruit bodies of Frantisechia. Frantisechia machulensis. Red listed as endangered, I think, in Sweden. What have you found, Ole?
I found some corals. I don't know the Latin name, but they are red listed.
As near threatened.
Really beautiful.
Samuel flipped a log here and found something really cool.
Yeah, so we had one rare species as a goal for today, and it was Seripuriopsis gilvescens. And now we just started heading back to the car and we actually found it. We flipped a coarse log of fungus, and I saw this annual pale corticoid. It looks a bit beige pinkish, and it has a bit of a more rustic color here where it's bruised. There's a paler version of the fruit body here, which is more super fresh with white parts, and then here more rustic color on some stains and patches. It's red listed as vulnerable in Sweden. It's really rare, and yeah, we got some help from expertise here to determine it in the field. Yeah, very excited to see.
Yeah, we found more specimens of Ischnoderma resinosum here. Beautiful with the reddish gutulation on top. We are now back at the microscopes and everyone is eating dinner. I want to show you the Dicosterium effuscatum in the microscope. I've taken a picture here. So this is the Dicohyphidia I was talking about. They are depicted here in the book. So they are basically branching skeletal hyphal ends, and skeletal hyphae are a thick-walled type of hyphae that makes the fungus much tougher. It also has amyloid spores with an ornamentation in the form of ridges that turn blue in iodine solution. So you can see the ridges here on the spores. Very beautiful.
Additional species Olle photographed this day include the fluted bird's nest fungus and the brown-haired whitecup.
It's day 3. Where is Olle? There he is. We are in Blåherremölla, which is in eastern Skåne again.
It's very wet, it's very muddy. We are hoping for a lot of dead wood of different species than fungus.
Some hazel here, some alnus and fraxinus.
Not very explored when it comes to polypores.
Yeah, we are like 5 minutes into the excursion here, and Olle has possibly found the find of the day already. Crepidotus cinnabarinus, a bright orange species, wood-living species with gills, a gilled agaric basically. Oh, yeah, it's crazy.
Show them the field
No, here it is.
view as well.
Yeah. Oh, look at this. He's crazy.
You can show them the substrate here.
Yes.
Basically quite recently dead fraxinus,
Yeah, ash.
and it still has the bark left, but here there's multiple fruit bodies on the bark.
They
Very small.
are shining in orange. Oh my god, look at this thing with the orange gill edges. And this species is red listed as vulnerable in Sweden and quite rare. There are not many findings reported. We got separated again, but I found another occurrence of Crepidotus cinnabarinus on an ash log down here, and this is a pretty large fruit body. A lot of Trichoderma, which are small ascomycete cushions. There's a polypore growing on an old stump here. Looks like it's genus Physisporinus, which we will microscope. some reddening Amanita species here with the fagus. I think I have Physosporinus sanguinolentus here. A polypore that bruises into red color. Here you can see where I have touched it, it turns instantly very, very red. We have found some really large yellow-orange Cortinarius species. Samuel will now demonstrate what happens when you put 20% KOH or potassium hydroxide on them. Because many of these Phlegmasium, the subgenus Phlegmasium, they have different color reactions in potassium hydroxide. You see here it turns instantly kind of red. Oh, pretty bright red actually. And this as well on the cap. Cool. That means we don't know what it means. We will consult someone who knows this. But Samuel Olle found a massive beech up here with the rare and red-listed polypore Ganoderma pfeifferi on it.
This species is red-listed as endangered in Sweden. Quite uncommon, and you can basically find it most often on these huge fagus trees in parks, for example, in the cities of Malmö and Lund and so on. It's very similar to Ganoderma applanatum, usually grows thicker and it stays on the trees for a very long time, for quite many years. You can see typical Ganoderma spores are very light brown, so it releases millions of spores that then end up on the top of the hat.
Here you can see all the brown spores turning the wood and the cap brown.
I think you can determine it also or differentiate it from applanatum by using a lighter on the top, and it's supposed to melt a little bit in comparison to other common species.
Do we have a lighter? He's gonna light it on fire. Are we melting it, Samuel?
I get more of a reaction here. It doesn't show very well.
Yeah, but it melts, right? It's like wax, wet wax.
Yeah.
Okay, we have now equipped torchlight and several matches here to try to demonstrate this wax melting on the cap. Samuel, come on. You are ruining the take.
Samuel was dropped when he was little, so he doesn't have so much brain in this.
But this is still just one match. You were supposed to use 3.
What an idiot.
Don't blame me for this. See how it's melting here?
Yes.
Slowly. There's some kind of a black wax there now.
Incredible.
It gets sticky. Well, not a very clear and cool character. I feel like we need to find Ganoderma applanatum and try this on and see if there's any difference in the reaction. Or maybe the one who determined this back in the days was wrong.
Is this a known occurrence?
It's a known occurrence from before, and I think the cryptogam course that is taught by SLU, they go here every year to check it out.
We are heading back for lunch, and after lunch we will go to the next locality. Photographing Trichoderma. One woman in the group, Karl, found a really interesting fleshy polypore. We went back to try to find it again and take more pictures, because it is potentially a really, really cool species, which is called Odoria alborubescens, and is listed as endangered in Sweden. Grows on beech. We will put this under the microscope, and if it is this species, Odoria alborubescens, we will be super happy, because it's a really, really rare species.
The identification was correct, and this is the second finding in Sweden of this endangered polypore.
I found this larva for Olle. Now he will take photos. Thank you. What is this, Samuel?
I have no clue what you're looking at actually, because I'm too far away. I see something grey, slimy, growing on a fungus tree, and I look away. That's what I do.
Good diagnosis, thank you.
Alright, repetition. Quite common red-listed species in beech forest. Ichnoderma
Resinosum.
resinosum.
We found Pluteus umbrosus, growing on a rotten beech log here. It is quite easily recognizable by this woolly hat. And this species is not red listed but quite rare with the scattered findings in Sweden. For the third day in a row now we have Frantisekia on beach. Down here below the tree I can zoom into Pluteus umbrosus again. There they are. Insanely huge Fumes fomentarius on this beech stump here with the Frantisekia, probably the largest ones I've seen.
Slapping that beech.
We found a Cortinarius here with a really thick bottom, so
yeah, my finger for a reference.
Yes, so please apply the KOH onto this one.
Okay, I'm cutting it here first. Turning it here, here, and up here on the cap.
Brownish reaction.
Brownish, kind of plain.
These beech logs are huge and covered in Ichnoderma. More Cortinarius again, being beautiful orange colors and a very apparent bulb here with a very visible edge. Yeah. So Samuel found two really cool species here. Lycoperdon echinatum, very spiny puffballs, growing in broadleaf forest. And here we have a very large and spectacular species called Coprinopsis picacia, easily recognized by these patches on the cap. Some cortesioid covering a very large area of this ulmus trunk here. Here we have Grastrum michelianum, a well-developed fruit body and some really young ones just emerging from their shell here. These lobes here are basically the inside of this dark ball we see here. So it kind of cracks open and becomes a star shape. Basically spores come out of the opening at the top here of the ball. Nice smoke, spores.
Smoky spores.
Okay.
Another species Olle photographed this day is the so-called beautiful bonnet, Mycena renati.
It's now day 4 and we are at Borstbäcken. Once again it's a ravine with the beech and ash. On this ash here we have a strange species called Phleogena faginea, which is these pale club-like fungi here growing on the corticated ash. And this species can be recognized by its smell. It smells kind of like meat stock. Not super common, I don't think. Here on this ulmus log I think we have Trametes betulina, which usually grows on betula. Can be recognized by this very teethed or gilled tough hymenium. It often has an algal growth on the cap, this green area here. More repetition. This is Mycena crocata, which produces this red-orange milk, eventually creating orange spots on the cap and among the gills. A group member found an undescribed Seriporia species, which is related to Seriporia excelsa, and it has only been found once in Sweden. So this is very exciting. We are collecting it now for sequencing. It has purple color and it's an annual basidiocarp. Here's another yellow Cortinarius species with a brownish or negative reaction in KOH. Next to the stream here we have a Cortinarius species with dark gills, which has a bitter taste. It is Cortinarius infractus and it's a species complex. So probably someone else has collected this for sequencing. Of Musidula musida, this white porcelain like agaric on beech. We have switched forest now to a more oak dominated one, and down here we have Trametes versicolor, this very thin zonated polypore. I just looked at the ash logs here next to the Trametes log, and here we have it again for the third time this week. Hypoxylon crocopeplum, orange strumata. Here's some kind of stromatic orange pyrenomycete, which hopefully will produce some spores for me to look at under the microscope. Here in this oak log we have a Laetiporus species. Annual, very fleshy. Here on this large beech stump we have Meripilus giganteus, coralloid annual polypore. It's not red listed, but for me, who lives in central Sweden, it's not every day you see this species. Very nice forest here. In contrary to the other forest we've been in, this forest is very open. Another beech log, this time with the biggest Hericium coralloides specimens I've ever seen. But it is fairly common in Sweden. And down here in the south it grows almost always on beech, but further north it grows mainly on betula. A bit further up the hill, Pluteus salicis, if I remember correctly. And this is pretty easily recognizable by the blue-grayish color with a darker umbo in the middle of the cap. The genus Pluteus is red-spored, and perhaps you can see a faint pinkish tint here on the gills. Here's a really nice specimen of Polypyrus tuberaster with this scaly cap and a stipe that is not black, contrary to its relatives. This species is red-listed as near threatened in Sweden and generally rare, mainly found here in southern Sweden.
Additional species we found this day include an undescribed crust fungus in the genus Stecherinum and a small and clustered cup fungus called Eriopetzia caesia.
It's the last day of the week now, Mycology week, and we have gone to a seaside, lakeside locality to look for the first record in northern Europe of Mycoasia notofagi, which was collected by another participant earlier in the week. So here it is on a very thin ulmus log. It is, to me at least, very similar to Mycoasia fuscoatra, but it has a very pleasant smell, larger and coarser spikes, and different cystidia or crystal covered cystidia. So we have put it under the microscope earlier the week and confirmed it already. Samuel found Mycoasia fuscoatra now as well on an ash log here. So we have put notofagi and fuscoatra next to each other to show the difference. So to the right is notofagi and to the left is fuscoatra. So notofagi has these very large coarse spines and Fuscoatra has visibly smaller spines. We also have on the same log Helicobasidium brebisoni or purpurea, which has this very loose woolly texture. We don't know anything about this species. Beech cow, subspecies. Don't fart, please. Samuel, status update.
We're slowly but surely heading back to the car. We got some company.
So now we're in the next locality for the day, and this is a beech and oak forest. I flipped a small log here, and this dark polypore is in the genus Hapalopilus, a genus which has a lot of purple colors that show, especially when you put potassium hydroxide on it. People use these species for coloring of yarn. On the other side of the log here, another fruit body which is more cushion shaped.
This species is usually small, resupinate and can grow on herbs. It is much less recognized than its more common relative Hapalopilus rutilans.
We're on our way back now, but on the way home we stopped by this beech forest. And here on a log we have some species I'm gonna show you. This is an Anthrodiella species, which is a polypore. This specimen is obviously clustered and very tough. Many species in the genus Anthrodiella are tough, and they often parasitize on other polypores and other fungi in general. Here's also a species in the genus Lantmäteriet, which consists of these white horns, wood decomposers. You might have noticed that we are not here with Olle. We went to different localities today, and I just spoke to him, and while I was speaking to him on the phone we found Cortinarius cinnabarinus, which is a really spectacular find.
Tradition at the Mycology Week is to make an exhibition of species found during the week, and it becomes very large since usually around 1,000 different fungal species are found. That means I can only show you a fraction of them, so I picked out a few that caught my eye. One of them was a massive specimen of the ruddy bowleaf, Rubroboletus rhodoxanthus. In Sweden, a rare and endangered fungus which grows in warm calcareous beech forest. The mealy Bigfoot webcap, Cortinarius caerulescens, a blue-grey, in Sweden also rare and red-listed agaric, which forms mycorrhiza with beech. Someone also found the giant puffball, a fairly common but conspicuous species, which can become almost a meter in diameter.
We're done for the week.
Yeah, and the storm Amy is now coming in over Sweden, so it's blowing really hard, and we are hoping to drive home safely.
Yeah, it's been a good couple of days.
Oh, here is Samuel as well. Hello. Hello.
Are we saying goodbye?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
It's been an incredible week.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of crazy stuff.
Hope you enjoy the
Yes.
video.
And
See you later.
see you in the next one.